Tell you what I want to talk about. Do you want some more water?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Mana, water! Immediately!
Oh, this glass is fine.
No, this one's fine.
Yeah.
Put the glass down, come along, Mana. Stop now. You're making me look bad in front of him, our guest.
Thank you.
You can bring the jug. I've said this before, I said it again. This is a black company.
A what? It's a black company.
Black company means... Thank you.
Yes.
Black company means a company that's very unfair to its employees.
Oh, right.
And a white company is a company that's full of white people.
There's no white.
Welcome to Green Square. Sham Talk. This is Sham Talk with Alexi. For Alexi or Lex?
Whichever's good.
Right, whichever's good. So it's Sham with whichever's good. So, whichever's good. What's good, man? You good?
I'm good.
So you're a runner.
I'm a bit of a runner.
He's a bit of a runner. He likes running.
Do you like running?
What are you running from?
My problems. Life. Death. Taxes. Government.
You're running away from life and death.
Yeah, you know, if you get fit, you're not going to die as early.
But then you have more life to live, and then that will chase you down, innit?
I didn't say it was easy. It's
And
a complicated thing.
Taxes.
Hmm.
Taxes come after you're dead as well, mate.
Not paying any right now, though. And I'm running. 2 and 2 together.
Oh, there you go. So that's the trick, is it? Just running.
Yeah. Running is an answer to many questions.
Running is an answer to one of the questions. Many questions. Running is an answer to one question. What do you like to do? Running.
Running.
You tell me do things I done running. How long have you been running? Answer the question.
I first started running, I think, when I was 18 or 19, but I wouldn't...
You had never run. The first time you'd ever run was when you were 18 or 19.
I think the first time I went for a formal run...
A formal run?
A formal run. I was dressed in a
suit
and tie. Everything up until then was... Casual run, so t-shirt, shorts, standard stuff. But my first formal run was around about the age of 18. No, I've been running for about 20 years, I guess, now, but I wouldn't say I would consider myself a runner at all throughout all those years. And it's only really 2 or 3 years ago, 2 years ago, when COVID hit, was when I kind of took it up a little bit more seriously, I suppose, and started kind of focusing on it a little bit more seriously.
I mean, you look much slimmer
Mm.
than I remember you. You were, and I didn't realise it at the time.
No.
I mean, I made fun of you. I was very mean. I did make fun.
You bullied me.
I wouldn't say bullying. Shut up.
Yeah, it was
Shut up,
bullying.
Alexi. Stop. Stop talking. Drink your water. Prick. I wouldn't say... I made fun of you about that you were chubby. Because you always made jokes about being chubby. I was like, alright, is that the thing we're doing? Alright, yeah, chubby. Little chub. But you were chubby. I didn't realise it until you showed me pictures recently, and now you look much slimmer. And you have facial hair.
I do.
That's good. You decided.
Yes, it was time to shave.
Leave your comments below. Answer the question, who has time to shave? I can give you a few answers about people who don't have time to shave. Well, 1 is Lex, 2 is me, 3, Santa Claus, hello, Come on. 4, his Lord and Saviour Jesus Christ. He doesn't have time to shave, does he?
5, Sauron.
Who?
Sauron?
Oh,
Is it
yes,
not Sauron?
Sauron. He's been in the gym. He got old Sauron. He ain't got time to shave because he's been working out too much and his muscles are sore. Sauron. Also, Sauron. He don't have time to shave, although he is clean shaven in the TV show. He's quite well shaved, I think.
Lords of Rings of Power?
Rings of Power.
Spoilers. I haven't seen Rings of Power.
Spoilers. So now you know it's someone who's clean shaven, maybe, or has not got a beard.
I wanted to come into that show without knowing a single thing.
And now you know people shave.
Now, I know people shave in the show.
Yeah, people shave.
There's no point in watching it now, to be honest.
There's no point in watching Rings of Power now because you know people shave.
Exactly.
And come on, all right. While we're on the topic, black elves. Black elves. Are you a fan?
I saw the whole thing on Twitter, on social media about, staying true to the source material and so on. But I don't.
Look, stop you there. Black elves are not real.
I don't know enough about I don't know enough about the source material
to comment.
To comment. However,
black elves do not exist. They don't exist.
I think this might get taken down from YouTube.
Black elves do not exist.
Here's to black elves.
Elves. Look, I've got news for all the people who complain about this thing. Elves are not real. I'm sorry if I've just broken the fantasy, but they're not real.
It's not a spoiler.
What, for life?
Yeah.
Santa Claus. He's real. He's real, actually. He's real.
I'll drink to that.
He's not alive. He's real. Turkish fella.
Yes, of course. You're correct.
What was it called at the time? It wasn't known as Turkey at the time. What was it called?
Ottoman Empire?
No, it's not the Ottoman Empire. Well, anyway, old Saint Nick. It's probably Saint Emre or something. So, running. We were supposed to talk about Microsoft. I've decided to talk about running instead. So, what kind of running shoes do you like?
Right now I'm running in Nikes, running Nike Pegasus line.
Pegasus line?
Yeah,
Pegasus line or nine?
Line, as in the line of running shoes.
Oh,
they've been going for many years. They're on their 39th edition now, so must be doing something right.
Season 39.
Season 39.
Nike Pegasus.
So I'm actually looking for a new pair of shoes, almost as we speak. When under the table I'm googling shoe reviews. Yeah, I'm trying to buy some new shoes in Japan because I need some new running shoes. So I might buy exactly the same pair of shoes. I might not.
Now, your missus, your girlfriend, she has what?
I hate that term, missus.
Do you really?
Other half.
Your other half is, because let's be honest, you were just half a person before you got with old what's her face, kidding Ashley, yeah.
With an
EY. EY, not an IGH. Yeah, I did ask that earlier. You were just half a person.
Absolutely.
I felt like, this guy, he's not really
not
a human. He's not complete.
He's not all there.
No, he's not.
He's not all there.
Not all there.
No.
I don't know what this has become, to be honest. I feel like I haven't had a drink, but I feel like I should. Your missus, your other half, your wifey, the wife, your girlfriend.
Don't be those people. Don't be like that. Just, your partner is fine. Your girlfriend is fine. My other half, missus, just, ball. So what next? Ball and chain?
Well, do you think Mrs. is a derogatory term?
I don't think it's.
And the other half, do you think it's a derogatory term? Do you think being complete is the same as having a ball and chain? I will tell you now, the good gentleman from St. Petersburg.
Florida. In the current political climate, it's important to clarify. St. Petersburg, Florida.
St. Petersburg, Florida. The good gentleman from St. Petersburg in Florida. Is there a St. Petersburg in Florida? Mm-hmm. Duh. Duh, comrade.
Of course.
Of course, I'm from St. Petersburg, Florida. I am good Floridian. Down with Biden, up with Trump, or up with Biden, I don't care. Okay. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, your missus, your other half, your ball and chain, she doesn't really like how you shop for shoes. And I'll tell her this now. I 100% agree with you. Just that one time we went shoe shopping, and I already feel like, what's wrong? What are you doing?
What do you think I was doing before coming to meet you here today?
Oh my God! Tell me, please. I beg you, tell me.
Shoe shopping.
You were shoe shopping. You found the shoe. Did you? When we went shoe shopping, did you find some shoes that were good?
Found some shoes that were good, yes.
And were they cheaper than the shoes you can get in England?
Sure.
Were they cheaper than other places you'll find shoes?
Well, that's the whole point of going to as many different shops as possible and comparing prices of said shoes.
And how much money does it cost to go to these other places to compare the shoes?
Probably the difference between buying the first pair of shoes I saw and cheaper pair of shoes I saw in a different place.
And what about the cost of time? While you were shoe shopping, how much of Japan did you not see?
Or probably at least 8 prefectures. Yeah.
So you spent all that time looking at shoes, discovering. Were you looking at different shoes, or was it just the same?
I'm slowly narrowing down the search circle.
That's brilliant, isn't it?
I'm going to go shoe shopping after I'm done with this podcast.
No, because we've got to talk about Microsoft next.
Okay.
And then
it's like the whole season of podcasting in one day. Great.
Pretty much, because I've only got you for one day, haven't I?
Yeah, we'll be back. Spoilers.
Spoilers. Season 9. I am back. Yeah, we knew. You told us you'd be back. I mean, that would be a good spoiler. That would be a good kind of thing in a TV show. If someone says, I'll be back, and then they don't come back.
And they don't come back.
Like, oh, wait, he thought he'd be back. He said he'd be back. Ah, he died. Oh. I'm not saying I hope you die. Let's move on. So you run. Why did you start running?
Well, I've always run to kind of keep fit alongside my other pursuits, you know, playing football and playing tennis and exercising at the gym. But the reason I started running more, which was around 2020 during COVID time, is because I got an injury from playing football. I got a calf injury, and for whatever reason I just couldn't shake it off. I just kept getting the injury kept repeating itself. I don't want to say it kept getting worse, but
it just kept coming back.
It kept coming back, and what I found was the recovery from that injury didn't allow me to do anything which required really sudden changes of direction, which is what you do when you play football or when you play tennis. However, running was something that I was able to do relatively easily. So as part of that recovery, I started running a little bit more, and the more that the injury came back, the more I kind of focused on running, and after a while I've sort of just, organically made the decision that that is something that's probably going to be a little bit easier on my body, at least at the time. And I started enjoying it because I was doing more and more running. I was varying my runs, I was varying my routes, and it was a good way to, keep up my physical health as well as my mental health, to be honest, around everything that's been going on with the lockdowns in the UK, as I'm sure it was here and in other parts of the world. So I kind of saw running as a bit of an outlet. And it really kind of helped me during that difficult time. So that's sort of how I transitioned into running more a couple of years ago.
So it's about recovery from this illness, from this injury, sorry.
Yeah.
And just keeping your sanity during lockdown, basically.
Yeah, it was just a good way to distract yourself because, you turned on the news and, even for somebody who doesn't watch the news as much as I should and as much as other people do during the pandemic, that's kind of all you did, because you would tune in to find out what you were able or not able to do, because the rules kept changing and the government was telling you you can't even leave your house, or you can only leave your house for a certain period of time, or the shops are not going to be open, or you can't exercise for more than an hour, and so on. So it was a good way to kind of distract yourself from that a little bit and just kind of focus on you.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded like from here that the UK and the Prime Minister at the time, I don't want to name any names, we'll just call him PMBJ. It did seem like he was making these arbitrary rules. He was just making it up as he goes along as well. And like, you can go to this place if you eat a pasty or something like that. If you go for a pasty or go for a bite to eat or something like that. It was really weird. And you can meet a lover or something. You can have intercourse with someone if it's not. I can't even remember. I
don't think that was one of those, but.
It was good to have you on.
Yeah, no, I think the rules. I think it's just the constant changing of rules was confusing and demoralizing to a lot of people, especially those who were used to kind of spending time with their friends and family, and all of a sudden it wasn't something that they were able to do. And I think, I remember at the end of 2020 when you were supposed to go, and around Christmas time where a lot of people go and spend time with their loved ones, and that was taken away essentially from a lot of people at a very last minute, where households were told not to mix in order to kind of halt the spread of the coronavirus. And that made it even harder for people during the time when I think they really needed to have that social contact and be around people that they cared about. And I think that was the time when it really kind of hit home how difficult the pandemic is, and how much it's kind of affected everyone, really.
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to keep abreast of the situation, just understand what's been happening. Yeah. I mean, last question then about this. How would you have done things differently?
It's all kind of a little bit hazy now in terms of what was going on over 2 years ago. But I think we should have closed our borders a little bit quicker. So our government didn't make it. I shouldn't be saying this because I work for the government. So in fact, if I'm criticizing the government, I could get sacked. I hope this doesn't go online.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I'm not supposed to criticize my employer in any way. I'm supposed to be fully impartial. So
yeah,
you
wouldn't
right.
change anything. It was really good.
I think everything was great.
I think everything was fine, to be honest. I mean, everything is fine, was fine, will be fine, and I don't know why we changed our Prime Minister at all. I think we should have stuck with David Cameron, as he was then known.
No, I mean, all kind of jokes aside, as I say, this is definitely my views and not the views of my employer. But there were steps that could have been taken to, at least initially, prevent the spread of COVID in the UK. I think it took a little bit of time for those measures to kind of come into place, which meant that the spread of the disease was already kind of harder to stop. At least at the time. But then again, lessons could have been learned from other parts of the world in terms of how they've dealt with the pandemic, in terms of lockdowns, in terms of what was allowed and what wasn't allowed, because it just seemed a lot of the time that the systems that were kind of implemented weren't necessarily going to be helping the spread of COVID. It was more just about sort of control and controlling the population kind of thing, and things that weren't necessarily like limiting the amount of time somebody can spend outdoors, which in a sense didn't make a lot of sense. Like, what difference does it make if I spend an hour outdoors or 2 hours, especially if I live in the countryside where I very rarely come into contact with anyone. There's literally dozens of decisions that were made that you could look at now and, with the benefit of hindsight, kind of question whether they were correct or not correct at the time. But here we are, 2.5 years on.
Yeah. You said something interesting earlier. You said Nike. Is it Nike or Nike?
I mean, I would normally call them Nikes, but I don't know. I know it's supposed to be Nike, so.
In England, we call them Nike.
Nike, but Americans call them Nikes, and yeah, I use them interchangeably, to be honest. Sometimes I'll say Nike, sometimes I'll say Nike, sometimes I'll say Nikkei. Nikkei sounds Japanese.
Yeah. I mean, it's the newspaper, isn't it? Nikkei.
That's why you probably can't say it like that.
Probably. So, you've run marathons.
I've ran one full marathon.
One full marathon. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And what was your pace? You said 1 kilometer. What was your...
My marathon pace was around 5 minutes, 15 seconds a kilometer. That's what I was aiming for before the race, and yeah, just kind of stuck to that.
That's really good. What was the time in the end?
3 hours, 41 minutes.
You ran for 3 hours and 41 minutes?
Yeah.
How did you feel afterwards?
Immediately afterwards, obviously very happy, but quite tired. The next few days were okay, so I recovered fairly quickly. The only problem is you're not supposed to do any kind of serious running for about a week or 2 weeks in some cases. I think even Eliud Kipchoge, who's the world record marathon holder, I think he doesn't run whatsoever for the first 2 weeks after running a marathon. He said that in a recent interview, and to be honest, it's very good advice, because I felt great 3 or 4 days after the marathon, so I decided to go for a run, and that's probably the only time when I've actually felt like I could get injured from running, because I went way too quickly and I ended up getting pain in my knee. So you've got to be very careful, especially after running a race, whether that is a 5k, a 10k or a marathon, to make sure that you recover properly. Don't kind of rush back to doing, because you're coming up to the marathon running a certain amount of miles, kilometers every week, and then you definitely can't be kind of continuing with that level of training as soon as you're done with it.
Good advice. Good advice. So, if you run a marathon, don't run for 2 weeks after?
It will depend on an individual, to be honest. I think it's fine to do very light runs, within a week. You definitely don't want to be kind of going out, for faster runs or super long runs for at least a couple of weeks after the marathon. But again, you should definitely consult a running coach or a particular plan that you've been following. But yeah, it's important to make sure that you give your body plenty of time to recover.
Well, thank you very much. That was a good end. Better than the whole COVID
I know.
depressing part. So I just wanted to end on something, a little bit of advice there for you runners. Alexi, thank you very much, and hopefully we'll see you again
It'd be my pleasure.
in the next one.
On the next one.
Yeah.
Sometime.
And look, if you want to come in, talk about exercise, talk about running, talk about coronavirus and the measures that you've taken, get online, www.greensquare.jp. No, www.greensquare.jp. And you can book a free trial lesson. Take it from me. There ain't no party like your nana's tea party. I feel like I should say something better. Take it from me. You can learn English. I don't know what to say. Take it from me.
Learn English with Lee.
Oh God.